I think it's a great concept that is going to bring into the public an idea that was not here before.
Completely different life.
It's not the same.
Listen, I just had no idea that there was such an option.
I've been happy with him since the year 2000. I'm not leaving him.
He has an incredible approach. I've never seen anything like it.
You can really count on him. I'd totally go straight to him. I wouldn't even wait a day.
Yeah, it's great.
He's an angel.
I would say a perfect mix of professional and personal. Up until that day, Mr. Reader's life had been good and successful, and his business was thriving. I was a salesman. My business was successful with lots of customers. That day, while playing basketball in his backyard, Mr. Reader falls and breaks his leg. Compression fracture it's called. And from there, things started getting out of control. During his hospitalization, he got an infection in his foot that developed into gangrene. Consequently, his doctors decided to amputate. They said, yeah, we have to amputate. I wasn't given any other option. It was really difficult. It was really bad news. Mr. Reader begins a series of treatments in the hospital in preparation for his amputation. Everything stopped. The business stopped running. I lost my apartment. End of the world. I hit rock bottom. Mr. Reader sees an article in the newspaper about podiatrist Daniel Weiss and gives him a call. The calm expression of Daniel and the medical staff at Bikur Cholim gave us hope. While Mr. Reader goes from one doctor to the next, Rachel injures her foot.
I came down from my house here, and I was in the garden, and the thorn went right into my foot.
Rachel, who's a long-time diabetic and has lost all feeling in her feet, does not notice the injury. When she breaks out in high fever, she turns to the hospital.
I came to the hospital in Beersheba, and every other day they would come and take me to surgery.
At the hospital, they decide to amputate Rachel's foot.
I did not want to amputate under any circumstances. I said if I die, I'll die with my leg attached. I'm not willing to live without a foot.
The day before surgery, Rachel's sister hears about podiatrist Daniel Weiss.
My sister came to me and she said, listen, we have some good news to tell you. We just saw in the newspaper that someone could treat your foot.
The family makes contact, and that same day, a doctor is sent to the hospital in Beersheba.
He came and checked me, and he told me, you don't have to amputate your foot. We can treat you. The doctors came on Sunday. I asked them, what are you going to do? They said the regular. I said, well, I'm not staying in this hospital. At 5, I got to Bikur Cholim. And who was the first person I saw? It was Daniel Weiss. He comes in, he says to me, listen, Mrs. Rachel, tomorrow we are starting your treatment.
Rachel starts a series of treatments according to Daniel Weiss's instructions and is released from the hospital 2 weeks later. There's some sort of a theory that if you cut off a person's foot, you took care of the problem, you solved the problem. The person is now under the care of national insurance and that's it.
Now, thank God I'm functioning. Look, I can get up. I get a little help, but I do things in the house. I can shower myself. I still go to my kids. I travel. I do everything.
My state of health has more or less returned to what it was. Daniel Weiss gave me the gift of a foot, and I'm deeply indebted to him, as they say. If you thought podiatry, the study and care of the foot, is only for senior citizens and diabetics, then you haven't met Dean, Liad, and Gittin.
I played basketball in the Little League, and recently my feet started to really hurt me. So I went to Daniel to treat my feet. I have tons of practice every week. We have at least 4 practices a week, including a game.
My ambition is to become a soccer player, and my feet are very important to me.
A common problem among teenagers and adults is ingrown toenails. The pain, unesthetic foot conditions, difficult surgery, and a long healing process.
Every time it got stepped on or even got a little bump, it started to bleed and swell more. It's like really not nice to go with open shoes. It doesn't look good. At first I was stressed because I didn't want to do the surgery. I was afraid of it. But he calmed me down, said it would be fine. Now I can wear sandals, I can wear nail polish, I can go get a pedicure, I can do everything.
I had surgery done. One day I realized that it looked kind of weird. It was like a little white, and I wasn't sure what it is. And I called up Donnie.
Using a third-generation mobile phone, Daniel diagnosed the medical problem and gave Avi a preliminary consultation on how to continue treatment.
Through the third generation, I put it towards my foot. He looked at it. He told me what to do to make it go away, and it was fine.
So what really is podiatry? What does the Wise Feet Clinic really do? We have here with us podiatrist Daniel Weiss. Hello, Daniel.
Thank you, Mickey. Podiatry is a wide spectrum or field in medicine which deals only with feet, such as ingrowing toenails, fungus, corns, callus, and treat, obviously, such problems as wounds and long-lasting ailments in the feet. As part of the podiatrist's role is to deal with the biomechanics, the way a person walks. In order to stabilize a person's walk and stability altogether, we do need to use sometimes orthotics. In order to understand that, we can look over here and see that a person is standing straight and stable on an orthotic, while here you can see him standing unstable where all his foot is pronated and therefore he's unstable. In order to understand the benefit of a good orthotic and how we make it, let's go and see Michi in the lab.
What I get from Donnie is the plaster that he made, the measurements he took, and his prescription. I go over it, and I basically translate it into practical instructions that travel with the plaster mold to the lab in California, where the orthotic is made. What you see here is the form of the foot after all the adjustments and changes were made for this person's specific condition.
The awareness to sport in the past few years has gone greater. A lot of the public actually do more sport activities than ever in the past. Today we know that approximately 65% of the injuries of sportsmen and women are in the lower limbs. And finally, Michi, what do you think? Everyone needs orthotics?
There is no professional athlete in the world today who doesn't wear orthotics. If you use your feet more, and athletes are actually trying to push their bodies to the limit more than is natural, they need some kind of support. They need something to stabilize them. And as it becomes more sophisticated, every sport has its own orthotic. For tennis there's one, and for soccer is another. For running there's a difference if you're doing sprints, or you're running miles, or running a marathon.
Diabetic patients and patients who suffer from insufficient blood flow are categorized as high-risk patients. Shosh, how would you advise me as a diabetic patient to treat my feet?
We give one-on-one guidance. We teach how to monitor at home as well, to be alert for things like abnormalities, and we bring them in for monitoring with a nurse.
And what will happen if we won't give the patients the correct education?
Well, if we wouldn't give guidance and we wouldn't be on top of the monitoring, complications could set in and even lead to ultimate amputation.
In Wise Feet clinics, we use advanced medical technologies in order to come and close these wounds as soon as possible. An ingrowing toenail can be treated easily if done at an early stage. Let's have a closer look at the foot to understand how the ingrowing toenail actually developed. If you can look over here, and we see that the nail is actually being cut wrongly, and therefore it's penetrating into the flesh. It penetrates and slowly causes the inflammation to develop. The procedure is very simple. Under local anesthesia, which is an unpainful treatment, a minor cut of the nail down to the root, remove that piece of nail, and then kill the base of the nail. And within a couple of weeks we have full recovery. There's no need to suffer for no need. As part of the Wise Feet Clinic activities, my colleagues and myself lecture nationally and internationally on the foot health. These lectures are intended to the sectors of military recruits, high-risk patients and medical staff. Thanks to these lectures, the rumors spread, but not everyone can actually attend the clinic physically. Some live far away, some are bound to home, or some want to be pampered. The nurses are equipped with mobile phones which they can broadcast online and or send an email with a patient's details and an accompanying picture to anyone of the medical staff. This gives us a possibility to begin their treatment immediately. Come and join me to see a patient at his home. Only 2 weeks ago I was called to him when the foot was in a critical condition.
So actually nobody saw it because I can't get my husband out of the house because of all the steps, and so everything was done by the telephone.
When we started, it was extremely painful, as you can imagine.
And I was complaining about my husband's terrible situation, and she said, "Oh, I have a solution," and it was Daniel Weiss.
Expectancy should be that the leg would come and look normal. The color would stay a bit red, but all the area where the wounds were in front and at the back will come to be complete regular skin. Finished. The multidisciplinary Weiss Feet Clinic gives an umbrella to a wide range of advanced medical treatments for the benefit of its patients.
It's very important in the role of podiatry is it allows us a liaison between the care of the patient in the community and the care of the patient in the hospital.
Weiss Feet is an idea of combining a multidisciplinary team that treats the foot in all aspects to give the best treatment to all patients.
That's why this type of cooperation is so successful, and in my opinion, it is the future of home health care, when different specialists can work together to treat the patient.
Here in the clinic, we work with a multidisciplinary staff so that when a diabetic patient comes to us, he is seen by all the different kinds of specialists. I don't even want to consider the possibility that there wouldn't be a podiatrist in a diabetes clinic.
He's gone. So let's hear some more about him from his colleagues and patients. I think that something in his personality and his interaction with his patients is such that he can reach the correct diagnosis and thereby take accurate measurements.
He's a wonderful professional with great interpersonal skills. We were very fortunate to have met Daniel. In my opinion, I think Daniel is an angel. I was very happy with him. I can personally attest about my 2 daughters that were treated by him. He literally saved both of their toes.
I think he's a great person that think of others and not just of himself.
The patients very much value him. They come back to him.
Daniel has a very wise vision. The best of everything. Chapeau.